Parents of identical twins, how did you avoid getting them confused as babies? Back in the 90s, a tiny drop of nail polish on the toe, careful to be sure they can't put their foot in their mouth. Different color clothing. Most importantly, using their names with them individually is super important. Repetition of their names means they will start to look and respond to their own name early. Painted the big toenail. It doesn't take long as a parent of identical to figure out who is who. We had the toenail painted for maybe a week before it was easy to tell who was who. As an adult identical twin, I have wondered many times if we were accidentally switched as babies, and all this time I've really been Tom. This is an actual shower thought of every identical twin, lol. I had a girlfriend with 9 fingers. She was very petite, around 90 pounds. She told me her mom was the same build as her when she got pregnant with twins. So in the womb, my GFS sister's foot pushed on her left hand, therefore her pinky finger just didn't develop. When I asked if her sister had a deformity, she said, "No, that bitch." When our twins came along, we decided to assign each a color. One was always in blue, the other in green. It started off as a practical thing, but as they got older, they each developed a preference for their own color. It became part of their individual identity. As funny as it sounds, that color coding stuck with them, and now as teenagers, their rooms are themed around their colors, their gadgets, and even their bikes. It's hilarious looking back at baby pictures trying to figure out who's who, but now, we can tell them apart by the color, or they literally chose to live. Wait, I was supposed to keep them straight. Got some baby toenail polish. Baby A was painted pink, baby B was purple. After they got a little older, I could look at their face and tell. When they learned their names, they would let you know if you got them confused. Also, baby B's cry was a little more screechy than her sister's. Sharpie names on foreheads. I was so afraid of mixing them up. When I brought them home, they still had their hospital stickers tegaderm to their backs, so that was helpful. Lol, but they were different weights, so that also helped, and it wasn't nearly the problem I thought it would be. Sometimes I can't tell them apart in baby pictures, and they definitely can't tell themselves apart, but I have no fears that they were mixed up. Baby A had an internal fetal heart monitor, which caused a small scab on her scalp. Those first few days, that scab was our only reference up until we did the one toe with nail polish trick. My father and his brother came home from the hospital at different times. Knowing my grandmother, she probably had a good handle on one twin's mannerisms by the time the other came into the equation. I babysat identical twins. The parents dressed them the same and gave them names one letter different from each other. So name-wise I couldn't. But visually I could. One twin was skinnier and smaller than the other. Not by a dramatic amount, but enough that you could see it. Their father was clueless and just drew on the kids' feet with something, so they were literally numbered. The thicker twin was 1 and the skinner twin was 2. Also, it was weird to see they had a favorite twin. Nail polish in different colors on the big toe. A friend did this. She told me she did both babies because she didn't want either to be jealous, lol. One of mine had a birthmark on his head that his brother didn't have. Once they got enough hair, it got harder to tell. Drew a mustache on one with a magic marker. Color-coded socks. It's like giving each twin their own mini fashion statement from day one. My mom had identical triplet boys. One had a little birthmark soft spot on his head that was easily identifiable, so he was good. The other 2 look exactly the same. My mom says she always knew, which I'd believe. My dad didn't know shit though and wanted to tattoo their initials onto their heels. Obviously everyone vetoed that and settled to painting the big toenail of baby 1 and leaving baby 2 blank. Not identical, but close enough at birth that it was hard to tell them apart. I did colors as someone else mentioned, but one has 2 scars from surgeries at 2 and 3 days old. When I was half asleep and delirious, I'd check for the scars. My cousin painted one of her twins' big toenails to distinguish. Reminds me of the parents in Argentina a couple of years ago that had to have forensics cause they lost track of who's who. Identical twins stop looking identical when you know them. Mom said as newborns she color-coded my brothers, but it wasn't for her benefit, it was for everyone else. My brothers don't even look alike to me anymore. Spray paint one blue and the other red. Easy. The hospital bracelets were invaluable to start, then we just painted one of their toenails. We had to really keep up with the repainting though, because if they were naked there was no way to tell them apart. Eventually we started dressing each in certain colors, and when they got old enough they got to pick their own color. One had a freckle near an elbow we tracked as well. I liked the idea of doing a Tomax and Zaymot, permanent facial scar thing, but since they're girls my wife said that was a bad idea. One had slightly green eyes, brown hair and would always lay on the right side when asleep. The other one had a penis. Fingerprint scan on iPhone. I named my twins the same name, that way I don't have to tell them apart. I think dressing them in slightly different outfits or adding unique accessories like hats or socks works. Not only did it help you keep track of who's who, but it also will be a cute keepsake. The thing about being a parent of twins is that you become hyper-attuned to the smallest differences between them since they completely dominate your life for well over a decade. You find even the tiniest markers in case you're not sure. A mole on their left foot or a slight bend in an earlobe, the way they say a particular word, etc. We never dressed them the same, and encouraged development of their own personalities. They might look the same, but are different people. My friends painted their toenails different colors. My sister are identical twins, my parents a dot of different color nail polish on the bottom of their feet to tell them apart as babies. Kept the hospital bracelets on as long as possible. However, there was also a 20 weight difference and the larger one was significantly jaundiced, so they were different colors for the first 6 weeks or so. I'm an identical twin and me and my sister and some siblings was adopted when we were almost 3, kind of a bad situation. We were in foster care for a year from abuse and neglect. Well, my biological mother would make a fit that they were calling me and my sister the wrong names, although she wouldn't show up for court saying that we were switched low, although we knew our names at that age, but they ended up getting that straightened out. But I always wondered. Have twin nieces. As an infant, one had something I was told is referred to as a stork bite on her nose, essentially a couple of very small veins on her nose. So it was easy to tell as long as she wasn't screaming, as the wrinkles from a screwed up angry baby face would hide the veins. After a year or two it was easy to tell by their bearing. Had very different attitudes, stances, mannerisms, etc. You just look at them. They are not perfect copies of each other. The first thing I look for in twins is head shape. Often one will have a wider head and the other will have a narrow head. Identical twin here, my mom gave us each a gold bracelet with our name engraved on it. All these people saying it doesn't really matter, what's it like to go through life without so much as an ear infection? It does matter which one gets the treatment.